Hello and welcome to the Hothouze Studios podcast with me, your host, Ciara Barnett. And I'm here today with my co-host, Caitlin Kelly. In this episode, we'll be talking about wellbeing, mindfulness and cold water therapy. For me, wellbeing is so important for all of us to find ways that help us in our daily life, finding the strategies that we can implement on our hard days. So for me, cold water therapy is a massive thing that I have implemented into my daily life. And that's where I go and I immerse myself in the cold water for around 5 to 8 minutes. On the days where the weather's maybe extreme and I can't get to the cold water in the ocean, I go and have a cold shower. What are some of the things, Caitlin, that maybe you would implement into your daily life?
As you said, like, I find it so important to have like a wee routine, or even just hobbies, interests, things that you can go to if you're having like bad days, or even on just like days in general, just something to keep you kind of going. Do you know what I mean? And I think what you did is brilliant. Like, you did that 30-day challenge, the cold water challenge, and that's sort of how you got into it, wasn't it? Yep. And for me, like, it would just be getting outside, moving my body, stretching, getting off my phone, because I find like being on my phone is it's just so bad. Like, if you're sitting scrolling, it just does nothing. So just getting outside and moving my body.
But I think that's the first step, you know, being aware, realising, what am I doing here, lying on my bed on my phone? You know, I'm just wasting my own time. You know, you find your motivation completely deflates when you're lying in your bed for an excessive amount of time. Your mind goes like just literally mush after you spend too long in your bed. Yeah. But once you can catch yourself doing that, that's the first step, in my opinion, to finding a better routine. So I think the importance of a routine will really help your mental health. Yeah.
Exactly. And like, I find just you can feed into those bad days as well. Do you know what I mean? By just lying around and not doing anything. And of course, like, for some people, days are hard and you can't, there's days where you just can't get out of bed, and that's fine. But like, as we said, just having those wee things to go to is brilliant. Like, so.
You're right though, saying there about nature and getting outside and moving your body. As soon as you take that first step and push your boundaries, because that's what the beauty for me with cold water therapy is, that mental challenge. I'm lying at home and I'm like, it's raining outside. I can find all the excuses under the sun to just give in and not go and do it. But I promise, once you take the first step, leave the house and go down and push yourself mentally and physically, it be worth it. There's not one day that I regret going down into the water. Every day when I come back out, I'm like feeling rejuvenated and feeling more energetic. So I can understand as well why people do these things first thing in the morning, because it sets them up for the day. So it's really interesting that you mentioned there about my challenge, the cold water therapy challenge, because that was a way and means for me to rechannel my mindset and refocus, bringing myself to be present, fully present in the moment, and like away from my phone.
Exactly, and having goals as well. Like, you set that as a goal for yourself, you know what I mean? So you have something to look forward to. You have something there that you can, this is what I'm working towards. Do you know what I mean? Instead of just like not having that. Like, for me, I want to do a mountain every month this year, and I've tried to do it last year and I just didn't do it. So now I'm like, right, I have to do it just for myself. Do you know what I mean? Just for me, for no one else, just for me to be able to set myself something to look forward to. And like, even stuff with like doing work as well and just being productive in your days, it's just like you need something to work towards, to work on for yourself and your own mental, I feel like.
It's that feeling of accomplishment, like self-accomplishment. Like, nobody else told you to do that or told me to do the challenge with the cold water. It's something that you find within yourself, that purpose every day then to get up and do that. And it's something that you find that you look forward to. But yeah, that's really, the hikes are impressive. Like, that's really good.
They're nice, they're beautiful. Like,
yeah,
they're gorgeous.
And it's a way of exercise as well, you know, as well as benefiting your mental, physical and overall well-being, which is the key to success, in my opinion, you know. Because without a proper routine, or without having something that you can rely on or fall back on your hard days, you feel lost. Because whenever I didn't know what helped me, I just found myself just sitting alone in my room with my thoughts, and that never takes you to a better place. Just keeps you in a rut, really.
I think another way of like just getting out of that rut as well, as you were saying, is like being around people. Like, you don't necessarily have to have, like, hobbies and interests, but, like, being around your friends, being around family, and not isolating yourself, because a big thing that people, do you know what I mean, if you feel like you're having a bad day, or you're having, like, just not a good time in general, like, you can isolate yourself. And I feel like having a social life is so important, whether that be your family or your friends or anyone. Just being around people and making sure you're, like, surrounding yourself with the right people as well.
Exactly, the right people is really important. People that you can go to whenever you feel maybe very low, or you need someone just to rely on or to turn to. In that moment, it's really important to know who those people are in your life. So if you can identify them early on, as soon as possible, really, before, you don't have to wait till things are really tough. It's important to find that on your good days, you know, they're the days that it's really important, because it sets you up for your harder days then.
I was thinking about, you told me something today that your friend went and did, and that,
oh yeah,
that's such a good release or something, isn't it?
That's really, okay, the audience won't know what I'm going to say here, but it's really interesting. So for me, recently, I challenged myself to start therapy, and for me, I've had a really positive experience with that. But I think it's really important to know, as we were saying there, with the people in our life that we can go to in our times that are when they're tough. So my best friend, I was explaining to her that I had a really tough session there a few weeks ago, and you know, that I was feeling quite low and stuff, and explained something that I never told her before. And just, it shows like how good of a friend she was. She surprised me a couple of Fridays ago to come out, and she was going to do something nice for me, and I hadn't a clue what this was, but it was just to benefit my well-being, like, because she knew I was feeling low. So her boyfriend was driving, and she we landed at this pier, and she hands me like these plates, and I was like, what's this? And then a marker. So on these 2 plates, I filled these plates with those triggers and like the things that had got me down that week or in life in general. So for me, that was my release. Once whatever I put on that plate, once it was on there, that was my release. So then I took it outside and we smashed it on the ground. We cleared up the mess afterwards, I promise, and we took the rubbish away. But that was like, once those pieces of glass were on the floor, that, like, they're broken, they're gone, they're in the universe now. They're away. It was my release and letting go of those triggers and traumas in my life. And I think that was like a really interesting technique, and that could be something that other people could use on their hard days as well.
As you say, like, it's a release. Like, you wrote down, you got it out, you didn't just keep it in, do you know what I mean? And I feel like therapy as well, as you say, is such a big thing. And I feel like everybody should have a therapist. I think therapists should have therapists. Like, I just 100%. Feel like it's such a positive thing, and everybody should, that should be something that everyone has, do you know what I mean? But like, even that thing of just writing it down, releasing it, you could do that on a page, burning it, writing down stuff that's like problematic to you, or like some issues that you have, and just burn it then and let it go. But obviously, I don't mean let it go as in like just forget about it. Like, obviously work on that too, speak about it, open up, talk to someone.
That's so the importance of therapy, because with therapy, it's your professional help. So I can talk to my close friends and family and those people in my life that I know I can lean on, but those people are really a listening ear. Once you go to therapy, like, they can give you the strategies then that you can work on, which will better those triggers in your life. And once they come up, you kind of feel more equipped and prepared on how to deal with those things. So then that was just a little technique that works for my friend, and she passed that on to me, which now I am like impressed by, and I'm going to probably implement that more often whenever big things come up or little things come up as well. But yeah, I think it's really important that conversation, that open dialogue, to feel comfortable sharing. We all have a story to tell. We all have hard days, but it's important that we talk to someone that actually listens, because I think that's something that we don't do enough. You know, people claim that they're listening, but most of the time they're not. They're thinking about, oh, what's for dinner, or I need to go here. They're always thinking about their time. You know, we get into this rat race of life where we're like constantly working, and we're worrying about the little things, but also like the big things, and we forget sometimes to be fully present and in the moment, you know. So I think doing more of this, having a conversation about it.
Yeah, and like, as you say, where everyone's caught up in the rat race of life, everything's so fast all the time. And I noticed as well, do you know, with like lockdown and stuff, a lot of people were forced to just stop what they were doing and just be, do you know what I mean, and be present. And like, I know for me personally, like, I was just on the go all the time. I was young, like, but it was like school. I was stressed about everything, and then once lockdown happened, I was like, what do I do? Like, how do I be by myself? How do I be alone? And why am I uncomfortable alone? And then it forced me to kind of like go through a lot of issues I was having that I would never have like thought about before. And that was a really like, I don't know, like I feel like it was a massive change in my life. And now I always find the time to slow down, and like meditation, what I say, like move my body, yoga, everything is just like a way for me to be like, right, I was forced to do this once, and now I'm going to make a point of doing it because it really, really helped me. And so I just feel like slowing down and just taking time to kind of think about what's going on is also so important.
And talking positively to yourself, I think, is really important. We're very good with like working on being there for other people and trying to make other people feel happy, that we forget sometimes, what about yourself? You know, in order to help someone else, you really need to work on yourself first and help yourself. And then that helps you be better equipped as well to deal with like the struggles that life will throw at you, the curveballs that we just can't control. But it's when those curveballs come at you, you feel, oh, right, okay, I can put on my jacket, I can deal with this now, and like let it go. You know what I mean? Not just holding these things in, because I think we do that too much, you know. But also it's not brushing those issues under the carpet as well, you know. And not allowing, we do this a lot, I think, where we don't allow ourselves to be emotional or to be on our own with our thoughts. I think we're scared of that sometimes because we're like, but if I do, that could get me feeling down. But that's okay if we feel down. It's just knowing, because I think we have to address that and deal with that and be upset, and you know, because crying is a release, you know, of emotion, and some people just fear that maybe.
But it is a scary thing, isn't it? Like
It
when
100% is.
Yeah, when you're going over those, when you're stopping and you're thinking about that, it's scary to deal with, and that's why a lot of people avoid it. And it's just to make a point to not avoid it and actually deal with those things it's just so beneficial, I think.
And I think as well with therapy as well, people fear bringing up old triggers and traumas. So with that, I feel like we're going back to that point of it's a choice. The thoughts that we think sometimes are a choice, but then there's other times where life throws things at us where it's out of our control and there isn't anything we can do about that. I'm aware of that. But in the moment, once you take that first step, that's a choice to take the first step to get help, to go and speak to someone. And once you can find that place within yourself where you're comfortable doing that, then that's amazing. Like, that's incredible, because you can help yourself get better. And you know, if you have anxiety and stuff, there's many people out there that tell you, I used to have anxiety, I used to be an overthinker, because you can stop that, you can like work on those things, and that's amazing. I didn't know that was a possibility.
I kind of think that's what happened with me as well. Like, I used to be so anxious and I used to have panic attacks flat out, and now like I can't remember the last time I've had one, because I've made it a point to be scared and feel those emotions and go through like what was happening and why this was happening. And like I can say that I used to have anxiety now, like finally, and it's the best feeling ever being able to say that. But I also wanted to go back to what you said earlier about getting up and doing a hard thing and like setting goals for yourself. When you get up in the morning, you hear your alarm, right? Say it's like 6 in the morning, you're like, oh my god, I always go back to sleep, always shut my alarm off. But see, the days I don't do that, you're doing a hard thing, you're doing the first hard thing, and that's setting you up for the day. Then you've completed something that's hard, so you're ready for like more things that are to come in the day that might not be. Do you know what I mean? That
you told me, Caitlin, about this 3-second rule. Do you want to talk a little bit more on that?
Yeah.
Because I think that's really interesting, just relating to what you were saying there.
I set myself a 3-second rule. If my alarm goes off, 1, 2, 3, out of bed. Because if I sit and think about it, oh my god, I have to get up, I have to do all these things, I'm just never getting up. My alarm's getting put off and I'm going back to bed, and that's it. And it's the same, I like scrolling my phone too. It's the worst thing ever. And I just be like, right, I need to get off my phone. But there's been times I'm like, I need to get off, and then 2 hours later, I'm still on TikTok or I'm still on Instagram. And I just be like, right, 1, 2, 3, phone's down, I'm going on and I'm doing something. If I want to clean my room, 1, 2, 3, just clean it. That's like I don't know, that's
just do it.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You know, because I feel like we do that, we get distracted, we procrastinate these things. But again, going back to we were talking about a routine. Having a routine really helps you focus and stay in the moment and keep on task. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to be doing something all day, like 24/7. Implement time into your day where you sit, you journal, you go for your swim, you go for your walk, go to the gym, listen to music, whatever it is that you have to do, or that you want to do. Actually, it's more important. Because if we don't implement those things, then it just feels like there's nothing to look forward to in your day. And if that, like, it's well important to be present with yourself, but also, yes, then go and allow time to watch TV or to go and scroll on your phone. But I feel like a lot of us, our screen time is up. Half of our day is spent on our phone, you know, and I understand that, yes, you can learn things from your phone, but like, it's not the same as getting outside and being in nature, breathing fresh air. That is the whole reason why I do cold water therapy, again, is for the breathing techniques. It's so important. We take little short breaths, and you know, there's a lot of people that have sadly passed away due to lung collapsing, and that is a fear of mine. Like, I've had asthma growing up, and I've had cases where I've like lost my breath and things. So being in the water and forcing myself to have to think about my breathing is really, really important to me. Yeah, and I feel like the water's like a blanket. It's like, to me, I just feel really small, and I feel like safe or something there, you know.
I actually went to a breathwork class once. It was in Belfast, and the boy was like, "We breathe incorrectly," and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then I realised that I breathe from my chest, so I'm like, and then I'm like, "Oh Jesus!" When I think about it, see, now I feel like breathless. But see, if you breathe from your stomach, like, you kind of put your stomach out, it just forces you to, I don't know, like, it was so calming, like, learning that and going through it, doing these like breathwork exercises. So another thing is literally just letting yourself breathe and just stopping to breathe. And that's another thing about like slowing down. It's just breathing, like, because we don't make a point to, don't we not?
We really don't. And then it becomes a shock to us then. See, when we go to the gym or go and actually put ourselves into a situation where you need to breathe, we're like, but I don't know how, you know? But when you fully think about it and you like one breath in and hold and then out, do you know what I mean? When we start really thinking about our breathing, you start to, you be thinking better, and you feel your oxygen is like, it's just overall better. Like, it makes sense, because otherwise you just feel like really lazy inside, you know? But yeah. Well, thanks so much, Caitlin. Enjoyed our discussion today. That's all we have time for in this episode, but I hope you all learned something new and found some strategies that you could possibly enter into your routine and your daily life. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and I look forward to speaking with you again, Caitlin, on these topics. Thank you for listening.